Hello everyone, this is chapter 26. If you remember at the end of chapter 25, John, who is Jack's son, but in the future, was waiting for them at the end of the lane as they turned round the bend. Ooh, scary. There were two older boys with him, the three of them lounging on an uprooted tree trunk by the side of the path. You do not live as long as I have without sensing big trouble when it is sitting on a tree trunk 30 feet in front of you. Big Trouble, for example, does not care if there is an adult present. I spotted that in John McGonagall when he simply ignored the referee during the game on the beach, the way he swore loudly, not caring if other people heard him. And now the fact that Mam was with me was not going to stand in the way of his giving me a beating. He simply did not care. "Call the police, Mam," I murmured. "The police?" she gasped. "Who are those boys?" "They're trouble, Mam. Go on." She turned and headed back up the lane. There was a public phone box on the main road. Avoiding officials had been an important part of lying low for so long. As soon as I had instructed Mam to call the police, I regretted it. I should take the beating and be done with it. No one need interfere in our lives. In 1,000 years, I had never gone looking for a fight, but if someone brought one to me... Boys now are not taught how to fight. That is probably a good thing. If people do not know how to fight, then perhaps they do it less, and that too is probably a good thing. Me? I was taught. I have been taught fighting skills many times. I had learnt the use of a short wooden staff from a prize fighter from Aragon, who would tell me it was the noblest of all weapons, for it was without deceit. His voice came back to me over the centuries as the boys in front slowly got to their feet. "Your mummy ran off, has she?" said the biggest boy, whom I guessed was about 15. "She's gone to call the police," I said, and they all chuckled. "Don't fret yourself. This'll all be done long before the peelers get here." They advanced, menacingly slowly, with John between them and much smaller. I stood my ground until they were about 4 yards away. "What's up, soft lad? You're just going to stand there, are you?" John took another step forward, and that was when I moved. I dipped into a crouch, grabbing a handful of the fine gravel from the path in my right fist and throwing it straight at his face hard. I am a good shot, if I say so myself. Raphael, the prize fighter, had made us practice this again and again. The gravel hit its target, and John let out a yell as the grit went into his eyes. The other 2 goons were distracted, and before I got to my feet, I grabbed a thick branch that was much less straight than I would have preferred, but at least it was the right length and weight, about 4 feet long and heavy enough to take a small amount of effort to lift. "No effort for you, no pain for him," said Raphael in my head. With both arms, I swung it at the boy on John's right, and there was a satisfying crack as it made contact with the side of his knee. He shouted with pain and staggered backwards. "Knees first, slows him down," said the voice. John was still rubbing his eyes, so with one end of the branch I jabbed him hard in the stomach. He did not see it coming and doubled up with a wheeze and a squeak of pain. By now the goon on John's left had advanced to my right side and made contact with a well-aimed kick to my shin, which hurt like heck, and he dodged the branch when I swung it at him. He was going to be trouble. In multiple combats, Target the strongest first when you have the most strength, said the voice. The boy advanced again, but this time I had the club ready, the weight steady in both of my fists. I raised it up, faking a blow, and as his hands came up to defend himself, I changed direction and swung at him hard, thumping the side of his chest with a blow that knocked all the air from his lungs. Now, finish the job, Alfie, said Raphael. There was a natural momentum for the branch to swing back, and I raised it slightly, adding my strength and smashing the wood into the side of his head, knocking him out cold. He slumped to the floor, tongue lolling. There was no time to admire my work, for John and his other pal were both coming at me. His friend lifted his fist for a blow, and I blocked it with the branch, then kicked him in the stomach, sending him flying backwards into a patch of nettles. He squealed as he landed. The left one, John, much bigger than me, and with a vicious look in his eyes, by now, though, I could tell my branch, old and dry, was weakening.